So cold, you could have been more involved, but no, I'm not the girl that you knew before. Can't believe you didn't know I'm grown.
Hi guys, it's your girl Keandra and I'm back with another video. And this video is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be something that I've been wanting to do for a long time now, but I was worried about what people would say, how they would react to the video, and just stuff that doesn't even really matter at this point. I feel like God placed this on my heart for a reason. So yeah, let's get into this. So this is going to be a series about depression. I think that before I kind of strayed away from this topic because number one, I'm black. And I feel like black people ignore depression and mental illness in the community. Don't worry, I'm gonna touch on it. Number two, the last time I talked about depression, YouTube flagged my video. And, well, they didn't flag my video, but they demonetized it. So I was just like, really? Like, I'm being vulnerable, expressing myself, and I can't even get paid for it. But now with the whole new YouTube laws, I'm not going to get paid for my videos anyway until I reach 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe down below and hit that bell to get all of my notifications of my videos. And then number three, like, it's just, like, why not? You know, I don't like, I was kind of worried. I have a lot of family members and friends and haters that watch my videos, and I didn't want to put my business out there, but at this point, I just want to help people. I want to educate people, and I want to bring awareness to this situation because it's very serious. And talking to my friends and my family and guys that I've dated, I understand that it's an issue and that it definitely needs to be talked about. So this video is going to be about being depressed or dealing with depression while adulting. Now, if you, you know, when you graduate, when you're in high school and you're like, oh, I can't wait to grow up. I want to live on my own. When I get my own job and money, I'm going to go here, 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 and here. And then even when you go to college, you know, you get financial aid. So you're still kind of not really an adult. But the moment you get your degree, or even if you don't have a degree, I'm saying a degree because this is what happened to me. But even if you don't have a degree, but you're hit with some real, like, adult problems. Like, you got bills due, car note due, car insurance due. You have kids. You have a spouse. You gotta, you know, it's, when you get hit with that, that's not, they didn't prepare us for that. Like, growing up, like, I saw my parents struggle, like, financially and stuff, but it was a whole bunch of stuff that I had no clue that they were struggling with or that they were going through. And, you know, I'm over here being ungrateful, like, why didn't I get this for Christmas? Why I didn't get this? Meanwhile, they trying to make sure the lights on, trying to make sure we have gas. Like, you guys, y'all have, if you are watching this and you're not experiencing this stuff now and you're still getting help from your parents and all of that, be grateful. Be grateful, because oftentimes, like, I don't know what could have prepared me for adulthood, but I was not prepared, like, at all. So I'm going to go over some topics while talking about adulting, but how basically depression and adulting and how to coexist. That's what we're going to talk about. So, first off, being on your own. I think it's really, really important to, especially if you're dealing with depression, make sure you're ready. If you have the opportunity to stay home at your parents' house and save up money before moving out, then by all means do that. I personally didn't have that option. Whenever I moved back home for a couple of months after I graduated college, that was probably the worst couple months of my life, honestly. Like, 2017 was a horrible year. 2016, like, the bottom half of it, because I moved out of my apartment in July. Bottom half, those 6 months, all the way up until probably about March, was horrible. And then, like, even after I got on my own, it was still horrible, and I'll touch on that in a second. But if you're living on your own, make sure that all your eggs are in the basket, if that makes sense. One thing that I deal with that's one of the things I hate about me being depressed. I make impulsive decisions based on emotion. I can be angry and I'll make a decision, and then later on when I'm back and I'm back in tune with my star player and I'm not mad anymore, I'm like, what the F was I thinking? Like, why did I do that? So when dealing with depressions, I know sometimes you get stuck. I'm going to say that a lot in this series as we go by, getting stuck, because I find out about myself, I make the worst decisions when I'm stuck. Make sure, if you know that you deal with depression, first off, acknowledge the problem. I think a lot of people, especially in the Black community, we try to ignore that we actually have mental illness and we deal with depression. I know my dad was a preacher and raised in the church. You know, a lot of times it's, pray about it. Or I know my dad always tells people, change your diet. You know, your food, the food that you eat have a lot to do with it.
But I'm get what I can get, So it's like, and then you're depressed about that too, because you're broke and you're depressed, and
I'll touch on that as well in a minute. So, just know what you're doing. Make sure you're doing it because you need to or because you have to, and not because you're upset and you're mad and you're running away from the issue. That was my problem. And but here we are a year later. I move out in 2 weeks, so I made it a year. So, God had me, but I'll get to that part later. I moved, got an apartment, got here. Things was hard. Like, everything wasn't included like it was when I was in college. I didn't have furniture. I didn't have my water, electricity, cable all bundled up in one deal, and I had to pay one set amount every month. I didn't have that anymore. That's something that I definitely missed whenever I got out on my own. And it kind of I was thinking that I was running away from the things that was making me depressed, but it actually made things worse. So I was even more depressed. So when you're depressed, you get stuck. I have a really bad habit of, when I'm stuck, I stay in bed all day. I don't get in bed. There's been times where I was in the bed for like a week straight. Only woke up to literally use the restroom, sometimes shower. Don't judge me. But, I'd wake up, use the restroom, get right back in bed. I wasn't eating. I always kept like little snacks and like water by my bed, so that wasn't an issue. So I wasn't like starving myself. But I had no desire to eat, no desire to see anybody, talk to anyone or any of that. I remember just last Christmas, I stayed in bed the whole time. Didn't go see my family. Depression, Stopped taking my medicine, so then I was having side effects. And it was just a lot of stuff that I was going through, whereas I felt like I kind of put it on myself, making impulsive decisions based off my emotions, because I was mad at my granny and mad at my mama and mad at everybody back home, and I wanted to go and run away and be on my own. And here I am making this series because I really just want y'all to learn from my mistakes. So, being on your own, just make sure like everything's, intact. Even if you're dealing with depression, like if you know you're depressed and you're the type to make impulsive decisions based off emotion like I do, make sure you have a backup plan if something happens. Like for me, at the time when I moved, I was a substitute teacher. Now the thing is with substitute teaching, you can only work when something's available. So if they don't need a sub that day, then you're not working. I took it upon myself to get about 2 more jobs, and all of my jobs worked together because it was based on kind of availability. So if I couldn't sub here, I think I was subbing for another city, actually, like close by. So if I wasn't subbing in this city, then I would just go sub in that city. If I wasn't subbing in either one of those cities, I would go do leasing. I always had like about 3 or 4 jobs and like 5 side hustles. So if I couldn't do none of that, then I was making wigs for people, or I was doing this. Like that's one thing I commend myself on. It's gonna get done. Whatever it is gonna get done. But at the same time, like, you have to pick your battles. And that was, for me, I would just be like, I don't feel like going to work today. On a day where I was kind of okay. Like, I was still sad, still depressed, but I could have managed. I could have got through work, you know. And then I had days where I was just really like stuck, didn't want to talk to anyone, cried myself to sleep if I went to sleep, you know. And then at this point, I have to go to work because I have a bill due that next week. So just pick your battles, especially when it comes to adulting. Make sure, you know, you got a job. Make sure your bills are paid at least. You know, if you can't do nothing else, make sure you got a job and your bills are paid. Because being on your own and paying your own bills and you're grown, you have to act like a grown up. And especially if you don't have family supporting you, like, you know, that's the least you can do. Get a job, make sure you have money, and all of that. So you need to find out, what are your triggers? What are these things that trigger you to have these episodes? I call mine episodes. I don't want to call them tantrums because it's not a tantrum. I don't scream and yell and all the other stuff. I literally just calm down. I'm usually quiet, and then people just don't hear from me for like 3 days. And I'll take like a social media fast, which definitely contributes to depression. I think that's one of my triggers, social media, because if you think about it, when you open social media, especially if that's the first thing you open when you wake up, you see people living these extravagant lives. You see people with their boyfriends. You see people with these nice cars, fancy clothes, pretty hair. All of these things that you wish that you can have. What you don't see is the thing behind it, the stuff behind the scenes, you know, the toxic relationships, the scamming to get the rentals. You know, you don't see any of that. So social media is definitely a trigger for me, per se. Also, just being broke. Like, I hate being broke. When I'm broke, I'm depressed, bro. Like, and really and truly for me, but now you have to, there's two different brokes. There's two different brokes. You have a broke of being, all your bills are paid, but you don't have no extra money to buy no hair. You have that broke. And then you have broke where you paying late fees and you about to get evicted and your car about to get repoed and your lights are cut off. There's a difference. I'm not this broke. I'm this broke. My bills are paid. That's one thing about me. My bills will be paid. But, you know, you just have to pick your battles. Pick your battles. Last but not least, I'm just going to talk about, you know, focusing on the positives. That's something that really helps me. Normally, whenever I'm really, really sad, you know, I may call up my girlfriends and we'll talk and we'll, you know, have little trips, or I'll go see them, and we'll all, you know, we try to get together like once a month. Like, sometimes being around positivity definitely helps. At least takes your mind off of whatever is making you depressed at the time. You know, I know a lot of people, whenever they're depressed, they become introverts, but it's okay. Like, sometimes getting out is what's going to get you out of that depression. I know I'm a very creative person, and sometimes being around my friends, like, for instance, this whole series that I'm doing, I was really depressed, wasn't talking to anyone. Talked to my friends about why I was depressed, and it inspired me to make these videos. So definitely, you know, be around your friends, your family. If you have a person that you're dealing with, you know, definitely talk with them. Sometimes all you need to do is vent and talk to someone. I know it definitely helps me. I'm a communications major. I like to talk. So talking about whatever makes me sad definitely helps. And yeah, so just to recap everything that I've talked about in this video, just in case you weren't paying attention, if you're going to be on your own, make sure all your eggs are in the basket. Make sure you have a job. Make sure you have money. Make sure you save money. If you don't have the first two, make sure you're saving money currently before you make that impulsive decision to go out on your own. Make sure that you're around positivity, no negativity. We don't need no negativity in 2018. And make sure that you aren't making impulsive decisions based off of your emotion. That is my biggest flaw. I hate that about myself. And that's something that I'm currently working on as well. So hopefully these things kind of help you a little bit. Stay tuned, because I'm going to talk about depression while dating in my next video. And I think that's going to be a really good video. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe down below and leave a comment. If you want to ask me something or want me to elaborate on something else, I gladly will. And until next time, bye guys.